Hello there, my name is Joe Mary, and I'd like to introduce to you the mastery of jazz chords in just 1 or 2 weeks only. Well, here's my story. I played music for over 2 decades with leading bands as a rhythm guitarist and a lead singer, but I had no mastery or understanding of jazz chords. And that's because I mostly used to play pop chords. I knew the jazz chords sounded enchanting and dreamy when I heard them. And yet I could never, ever learn or master them. You see, there were no approaches or methods that seemed either feasible or understandable to me. And then one time I came across a book, a jazz real book. At the back of this book were chord diagrams or jazz chords. I sat up or lay down sometimes for hours trying to internalize them and have them, imprinted in my mind. But each time I came back for a study session of these chords, I seemed to be back at square one. I had mostly forgotten them. Finally, I developed my own approach to the learning and mastery of these chords. And that is what I'm presenting to you today. So let's get straight into it. See how we can master jazz chords in 1 or 2 weeks only. I have tried this approach on teenagers and even a 9-year-old with success. Let's begin. The first thing you have to know is that I don't think you can really learn chords by only memorizing them. You have to put them into practice. You have to put them into regular practice. Just like you did your times tables back at school until they were forever engraved in your mind. And that's the approach we're going to use. We'll learn how to interpret jazz chords and how to make it work until they stick. Let's start with the fretboard. So on the guitar fretboard, you need this in order to play jazz chords. You need to know the positions of or the names of the frets, the note names for each space on the fret, especially for the 6th string and the 5th string. So for the 6th string, you have an open E string. Then you have F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, and so on. On the 5th string, you have an open A string. Then you have A sharp, B, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and so on. Now, why is this important? Because jazz chords are movable chords. They're unlike pop chords, which you can only hold in one place and can't transfer that shape to another place. With the jazz format, it's manageable if you get the concept of movable chords. And this is what makes the jazz strumming slightly different, because unlike pop chords where we strum all the strings, for example, that's a C chord or a C with an inverted G chord. With jazz chords, we won't strum. For example, if I strum a C major 7 like this, notice the style of picking. The thumb and particular fingers picking only the strings you want. And certain strings are not being picked. In this instance, I'm not picking this one. and that, because they don't form a part of the chord. And that's how most movable jazz chords will be. So let's start with a major 7 chord. Now, the major 7 chord, if built on the 5th string, will have its root here on the C note. And in books where you have jazz chord images at the back, sometimes you will have that note surrounded by a circle. And that is just meant to show you that that is where the chord is getting its root. Okay? So right there we have a major 7 chord. It doesn't say what letter it is. It just says major 7 because it's a movable chord. So the concept is to understand that the name or the root of the chord is there on the circled note. So whatever you identify as your circled note position, that becomes the root of the note. Okay? And so if we do a C major 7 chord based on the 5th string, if I start it here, just based on this diagram, then it will be a C major 7. And so my C major 7 chord is going to be like this. You got your root there, and then you got that triangular shape over there. That's your C major 7th chord. You can hear the jazzy sound. And it's movable, so I can have D major 7, E major 7, F major 7. Okay, so that's the movable chord. Let's see, what does a major 7 chord look with its root on the 6th string? The same chord built on the 6th string will look like this over here, where my finger is pointing. That is a G major 7 chord. The circled note signifies that that is where the root of the chord is. So whatever note that is on the fretboard, if you do that shape will produce that root as that major 7 chord. So if I wanted to do our C major 7 chord, then I have to, on the 6th string, with this concept, then I have to look for a position of a C on the 6th string. So this is E open, F, F sharp G, G sharp A sharp B, C. And then holding that shape would then give me this. And that would be my C major 7 chord built on the 6th string. Now notice once again that certain strings are crossed out. That means they are not held. You can see the crosses at the top of this chord to show you that to show you which strings are not being held. Okay, so that means the 5th string is not strummed, the one just below the circle note, and the 6th string are also not plucked. So once again, our C major 7 chord would be like this. See, I had made a little mistake. I had struck the 5th string. That's why it was sounding wrong. So it should be like this. And based on the 5th string, the C major chord would be, C major 7 chord would be like this. All right, let's do a couple more and we'll quickly go into a song. Let's try a seventh chord, just a seventh chord. Based on the sixth string, if I did a G7, because this is E open, F sharp, E open, F, F sharp, G. If I did a G seventh chord, it would be like this. That's a G chord. If I lift it off, that is a G7th chord, basing my root on the note. Now I'll just show you that chord here. And this is an image from a Jazz to Jazz real book. So here you have your G7 chord right here. Notice the sixth string note is circled. So if you put your finger there on the third fret, it would become a G chord right here. Okay, now normally a G7th chord would be held like that, but in this case right here, he's only using one finger to press the sixth string and the fourth string, and then the third finger is on the third string. So he's made it simpler. It could have been this, but he simplified it to that. So those are the two options you have. This is your jazz G7th chord, or if you want to make it richer, you could go and include the fifth string. All right, so very soon we're going to play a song. Let us see which more chord we can have, or maybe the song will determine which chord we're to play next. And so the song we're going to play right now is this song, Young and Foolish. It starts with a C major 7 followed by an A minor 7. So we would start there. That's your C major 7, because that's a C. And then the A minor 7, we've just done an A minor 7 where we had just 2, like that. Okay, so we've got this one being pressed and this one and that one. So there's your A minor 7 chord right there, like that. All right. So the progression in the first bar would be, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, looking at the sheet over here, the next chord we have to do is our D minor 7 chord. So how do we do the D minor 7? Well, we could come all the way up here to a D and do the same shape like that. So from A minor 7, yeah, we come up to a D. Or we could do the version of a jazz chord built on the fifth. Now, if you build a minor chord on the fifth, it will be in the A minor shape, and it's a movable chord, and you put your circled note here at the D position. That would be D minor, and if you lift off one finger, that would be your D minor 7 chord. Okay, so looking at our sheet, it looks like we've gotten most of them so far. So we just need to know what a 7th chord is, the G7, and we've already done minor 7. We've encountered minor 7. We're encountering it 3 times. We just need to know what a seventh chord is. So we need G7 and C7. Well, from our diagram, the seventh chord, the movable seventh chord, would appear like this one here. So it's in a triangular shape. You can see the circled note on the fifth string. Okay. Now, if you look at this diagram, you can see I've modified some of the chords because not all of them were represented here in this Jazz Reel book. And so, using my knowledge, I've modified some of them. Now, that's a triangular shaped shape, you see, for a seventh chord. So, if I was holding a C7 based on the root of C, it would be like that. So that would be my C7 chord, like that. Although you can make it richer by adding one more finger on the fifth string to make it slightly richer. Then you'd have your C7th chord over there. So that would make this one a G7th chord. Remember, these are movable chords. So in this case, I am not picking the sixth string, the thick one, and I'm not picking the thin sixth string. That's my movable D7th chord, okay? Now, for a seventh chord on the sixth string, because that one I've done was on the fifth string, I showed you C7 and D7. So on the sixth string, the seventh chord would look, yeah, we already did it, like that. All right. So now we can play a whole line of the song Young and Foolish. So Young and Foolish, for example, because I say the only way to master jazz chords is to master by practice. We've done all these chords, okay? And so if I'm to play that, I'll need a C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, C, C major 7, G minor 7, and C7. And therefore, my first phrase of Young and Foolish would go like this. C minor 7, A minor 7. Actually, it's A minor 7, yeah. D minor 7, G7, C, C major 7, G minor 7, C. So the minor 7 actually is just two fingers like that. I think I may not have shown you a minor 7. I'm just realizing that. Yes, so the minor 7 is just two fingers, one kind of barring, and because this is G minor, yeah, and so that is minor 7. So we got the whole line: C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, C, C major 7, G minor 7, C7. If I was singing, it would go young and foolish. Why is it wrong to be? That's just the first line, right? So once again, young and foolish. Why is it wrong to be? Now our next chord is going to be F major 7. So we can finish the second line. So F major 7 is going to look like this. Now let me so you have your F major 7. Okay, how does it look? Now I'll do something right here.